We were beaten by a good side who had a lot to play for, and they brought really good pressure and forced us to use the ball poorly. There's quite a bit that'll come out in the review, I'm sure, but right at the moment I think the overall summary is that we were beaten around the ball by a side that was really desperate, and it was really good match practice for us. Whether we had won by 2 or 3 goals or lost by 2 or 3 goals, I think is really inconsequential for the season. And if anything, I think that sort of pressure was really good for us in our preparation for finals.
Do you hope it's a bit of a mental jolt for the boys, just in case there was even 0.5% of complacency there?
Yeah, I hope so. Look, I don't think there's too much complacency there. I think if we talk about that, we're underrating the opposition, and we shouldn't do that by any stretch. But we know that it's going to get even harder from here on in. So mentally we've got to be prepared for that, and we've got to make sure that our method against that sort of pressure is better than it was.
Is this sort of a match better than for you in terms of your preparation and so on, than a lot of the big wins you've had earlier in the year?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's better. We would have loved to have won the game. We certainly didn't orchestrate a tight game and a negative result. We wanted to win the game. We wanted to play better than we did. But in terms of what sort of game you'd like going to finals, then high pressure and relatively close on the scoreboard all day would be the preference.
Surprised, but the guys weren't able to adapt to the amount of pressure that wasn't able to create more space and do more with it. How did they adapt to it?
No, I think your analysis is pretty good. I thought we didn't adapt at all, and normally it's a strength of ours. When sides really try to close down the game, we're pretty good at moving the ball through pressure, and today that wasn't so good. So we've got to make sure we review it really hard. But we've done that all year. I think the building blocks are there. The foundation's pretty solid. We've just got to make sure that the detail is turned around. And I've said it a few times this year. The difference between good and bad performance in modern AFL footy is pretty fine.
Did you gut feel that's probably execution as much as anything else, just execution of getting through tight situations, missing hand passes, missing kicks, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, a combination of our execution and their pressure. We certainly, when we got the ball, we didn't see too many free targets today, which is great defence from Sydney.
Chris, what's the early mail on Harry Taylor?
I don't know, to be honest. It was pretty clear that he wouldn't be able to come back on. The doctors checked him out. I'd say the early diagnosis would be that he has a little bit of concussion, but as always with those things, you've just got to wait. We could know in 2 days. It might take 2 weeks. You just don't know.
Does the loss today in any way change the way you approach next week in terms of personnel you select?
No, the result doesn't. No. But how we come off the game physically will be the biggest factor.
And the way, I suppose, especially it stood out the way Steve Johnson fumbled the ball an awful lot for a guy of his talent. Did the bye have anything to do with it?
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, I'd love to say, just put it down to the bye. That's the only problem. Everything else is okay. I think it's a little bit more than that. But you're right. Our really good players fumbled under pressure. I think that was plain to see for everyone. So, as I said, the pressure's only going to get more intense from here on in. So if we continue to do that, we'll continue to get beaten.
Are you worried that you're not going to handle the pressure as it goes forward?
I'm worried about a lot of things. We've just got to make sure we get everything we possibly can right. If all that goes wrong, we'll get beaten. I'm really worried about that. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. No, I think our guys are pretty used to handling the pressure when it counts, and I'm really confident that we're in good shape.
Does the end of the run, end of that remarkable 29-match run, does that make any difference internally for you guys, or is it just one of those records that goes by the line?
We didn't pay too much attention to it, if any, when it was going well, and we won't pay any attention to it now it's gone.
But the guys pride themselves in playing intense football here in front of the fans and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that might have the opposite effect of pricking them up a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah, hopefully, Well, I never know what to make of the mental edge. Is it going to give them a little bit of a boost? I'd like to think not. I'd like to think that they don't need things like that to lift them. And our guys are really competitive. They want to win every game, every week.
You said that the result won't change the way you approach the Collingwood game. Will the performance make you change the way you approach the Collingwood game?
No, we're not going to make wholesale changes to the way we play at this stage of the year. And I think it's good to be playing well going into finals, but I didn't think we were horrendous today. I thought the opposition were very good, and we weren't quite at our best, and that's enough. And we know that that'll be the situation in finals as well. So, if anything, I hope it's not conscious, but maybe subconsciously our players know that the result wasn't the most important thing today, and it's going to be the same next week. But I'm not standing here saying that we're going to go into next week and not worry too much about how we perform.
Have you got many blokes to come back for Friday?
Yeah, we'd like to think that Mooney will come back from suspension. We'd like to think that Milburn will be available. Mitch Duncan will be available. Joel Corey probably won't. Almost certainly won't. But we'd like to think he'll be right for the first week of the finals. And other than those guys, we've also got a pretty healthy list. We've got some guys that played very well at VFL level this morning. So, yeah, in terms of availability, we're in pretty good shape.
Is that more precautious with Corey to be 2 weeks in a row with the groin, or is there something maybe a bit more severe than you initially thought?
Oh no, he's got a little issue with his groin that was probably always going to be about 12 to 14 days. So, we've been careful all year. We're certainly not going to be any less careful the week before the finals.
All year you've been balancing your forward line as well.
Yep.
Westy's obviously come in today and had his opportunity to play quite well. How did you sort of rate his performance?
Yeah, I thought he was good. Yeah, he certainly gives us something in the ruck, and we probably haven't played him forward as often as we would have liked this year, so it was good to do that today. He definitely offers something.
Are you any closer to establishing the four that you wanted to take in?
No, not really. We think we've got some options. Podsiadly, Hawkins, Mooney, West are all viable options, and I'd love to tell you definitively what we're going to do, but no, we don't know.
Does today tell us that the difference between that, there's been talk about the difference between the top four, the top three, and the top five and the rest sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's not that big, is it? I mean, Channel City come there today and play hard at football and make trouble anyway.
No, I don't believe it is. I think people have a tendency of looking at the ladder and seeing where the gap is and making sweeping generalisations. I don't think Collingwood are miles in front of everyone else either. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that the side that finishes 7th or 8th couldn't really trouble the top sides. All those things are very real. I'd like to think we talk about it internally all the time. We need to play somewhere near our best to win every week. And if we're a little bit off and the opposition are good, we'll get beaten. It's the same for Collingwood, it's the same for Hawthorn, Carlton, West Coast.